So, welcome to Daily AI Podcast. Today, I will be looking at another interesting news that is making rounds in the media sources related to artificial intelligence and technology journals. So, this article has been published on Technology Review, MIT Technology Review, and in which this research paper that has been put by the OpenAI. I think this is very interesting, and I will try to include it in full 1 or 2 hour of video in which I will explain like what exactly is being used behind the scenes. This is just a review of what is being written here. So as you can see, like AI learned to use tools after nearly 500 billion games of hide and seek. So in this game, roughly speaking, what they did is that the OpenAI team kind of used the reinforcement learning with the multi-agent learning in the competition, which resulted in the agents learning. After millions of rounds of playing among themselves, they emerged into a very interesting situation in which they have created their own strategy and while playing hide and seek. So they were just the initial condition that were given, and they did it all by themselves by trial and error. So if you could mimic that kind of competition in a virtual world, would it also give rise to much more sophisticated artificial intelligence? Essentially, there is a philosophical relation which can be made from this, that maybe the human evolution is just like what has been done in this game, in the virtual world. In this virtual game, what the team did is that the two opposing team of AI agents developed complex hiding and seeking strategies that involved tool use and collaborations. In these strategies, like during the first phase, hiders and seekers developed very crude avoiding and chasing strategies by moving around the space without manipulating any of the objects. So when the game started, there were a couple of initial conditions that were given. The researcher designed a virtual environment that consisted of an enclosed space with various objects like blocks, ramps, mobile and immobile barricades. And the agents themselves were controlled by the reinforcement learning algorithms, and for each game the agents were split into two teams. Hiders were rewarded or penalized for avoiding or failing to avoid the seekers. Respectively, seekers were also rewarded or penalized for finding or failing to find the hiders. As in the classic game of hide and seek, hiders were given a few second head start. The researcher gave the agents no other instructions. So there were a couple of initial instructions that were given, like hiders, just like the real game, hiders were given a bit of a head start before starting the game, and the blocks, ramps, mobiles and barricades were provided in the virtual environment, and the agents were split into the teams, and there was a reward and there was a punishment to both the teams. Like if you find there's a reward from the one team, if you find the hiders, there's a reward and there's a punishment or failing for finding the hiders, kind of reinforcement learning. And in this case, different agents, so these different agents are competing with each other, kind of involutionary intelligence which is being trying to mimic here. So they tried to outrun each other, and this was the result. Like they behaved exactly as a human would do. Like they created they like during the first phase, and they avoided each other. Like chasing strategy was there, a bit of a randomness was there in the but after 25 million game mark, the hiders learned to move and lock the boxes and barricade the environment to build the forts. And in the phase 3, the seekers developed a counter strategy, moving the process in which they learned to move a ramp next to the hiders when they built the fort there and to climb the walls. And by phase 4, 10 million rounds later, the hiders had learned to rock the ramp in place before building their fort. After 380 million game mark, like you can see how much training is needed here and how much of a GPU processing is being involved here. And you are just concerned about the initial condition. There is no actual learning, there's no algorithmic learning involved here. It's just a game of trial and error and cost, and there's a cost to each and every action. That's it. And the cost is just, this is the game, this is the virtual world, these are the few things that have been given, go find. If you fail to find, there's a cost, and if you find the other thing, there's a reward. And this is the gameplay. So it's like a very, very simple but very effective, the most interesting phases of algorithms that have been developed recently. So and in the final phase, the hiders once again learn to lock all the ramps and boxes in places before their fort. So as you can see, this hider has built the fort around, and this seeker has learned to climb the ramp or this box to check for detecting this hider. So it gives rise to an emergent intelligence, which is akin to saying it's kind of an evolutionary way of seeing these things, in which what if a bit of a philosophical zone, what if the humans would have evolved in such a way, the human intelligence, like before starting there was no initial conditions, but human learned to outrun others in using the resources of the earth better than the others, and this is the reward, like they have emerged as the most intelligent species. So this is just an skepticism, but it very correlates. It's a very much you can see the relation between the two. So this was the thing which I felt is very interesting, and I think it gives rise to a lot of philosophical debates. So just feel free to comment down below and let me know, like, if let me know some suggestions, or just this is a beginner's channel, and I hope to garner support as I have reached a minimum threshold of the content. So just this whole idea is to just give people a bit of a way to discuss about something in the virtual world. That's it for today. Like tomorrow I will look into some other interesting news, and I will surely would love to reference them and discuss them on this forum. Thank you, and consider joining this channel.